They were called crazy, paranoid, delusional. For decades, anyone who questioned the official story was dismissed, ridiculed, or silenced. But what if some of the most outrageous conspiracy theories were actually true? In 1950, a bizarre rumor began circulating in American newspapers that the CIA was secretly experimenting on humans with mind-control drugs. The idea sounded like pure science fiction, something out of a pulp horror novel. But in 1975, during a U.S. Senate investigation, the world learned that MKUltra was real. The CIA had indeed conducted horrific experiments, using LSD on unsuspecting citizens, prisoners, and even hospital patients. All in the name of national security. That wasn't the only time the truth sounded like madness. For years, African Americans whispered about a government plot to infect black men with syphilis, using them as lab rats. Again, no one believed it. Until 1972, when the truth of the Tuskegee syphilis study broke. For 40 years, the U.S. Public Health Service had knowingly left hundreds of men untreated, watching them die slowly, just to see what would happen. And then there's Operation Northwoods, a top-secret plan proposed in the 1960s by the U.S. military to commit acts of terrorism on American soil and blame it on Cuba. Hijackings, bombings, even sinking boats full of refugees, all to justify an invasion. The plan was rejected by President Kennedy, but the documents were declassified decades later, and the theory that your own government could plot against you suddenly wasn't so far-fetched. Even the Gulf of Tonkin incident, which pushed the U.S. into the Vietnam War, was later admitted by government officials to have been misrepresented, meaning, in plain language, it didn't happen the way the public was told. Thousands died based on a lie. In 1990, a teenage girl testified before the U.S. Congress, claiming Iraqi soldiers had stormed Kuwaiti hospitals and ripped babies from incubators. Her words ignited global outrage and helped justify U.S. intervention in the Gulf War. But later, it was revealed that the girl was the daughter of the Kuwaiti ambassador to the U.S., and her testimony was orchestrated by a PR firm. A staged performance. A conspiracy. That worked. And who could forget COINTELPRO? The FBI's covert program to infiltrate, spy on, and destroy American activist movements like the Black Panthers, anti-war protesters, and even Martin Luther King Jr. For years, people who spoke of FBI harassment were branded as paranoid, until official documents, obtained through the Freedom of Information Act, proved they were right all along. The pattern is chilling. Over and over again, what was once dismissed as lunacy becomes accepted history. What begins as conspiracy becomes confession. So now, the question isn't are conspiracy theorists crazy? It's, what insane truth are we dismissing today? Because if the past has taught us anything, it's that power hides its darkest truths in plain sight, and calls those who see them mad.